Dune trailer.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it. The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die. What will you do? I know you. One day.
Well, okay then. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott.
And I'm Luke.
Dune! Yeah, that's Jonathan. And this is the No Way to Hollywood podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight.
And thank you, Ari, for giving me a reason to check the comments. And thank you, Nate, for also watching religiously. You are awesome.
We got comments?
Two
What?
comments when I begged for them. When I begged for comments, 2 of our faithful viewers commented.
You should
That's
try
what-
begging.
thank you.
You should go on your knees next time. Get on your knees on that table back there and beg, and maybe we can get 3.
I mean, we are looking at, I don't know, like 33% of our viewing audience leaving a comment for us. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
So something happened in our conversation last week when we were talking about movies that disappointed us. We talked a lot about the effect that trailers have on how we perceive what a movie is going to be. So tonight we decided to all go watch the new Dune trailer and do a little case study and give you our thoughts, perceptions, ideas, comments, and whatever else comes out of our mouth related to the Dune trailer.
And if you can't Google, I will put a link below. And I will let you know that horrifically, they uploaded it. The company that's making it, the publishing house, uploaded the Dune trailer at a whopping 1080p. Unacceptable!
You know, that used to be pretty good, Luke.
Yeah, when it was like 2010, what is wrong with you?
What, VHS used to be pretty good, Scott? Like, what are we talking about? A lot of things used to be pretty good.
I mean, you have a point. And I do remember sitting in my grandpa's car and seeing the 8-track machine and going, what is this?
This is so amazing.
And he
I
said,
haven't seen technology this amazing since the dinosaur.
This is the Dune trailer. We're gonna watch it in the 8-track.
All right, Jonathan, you have been the person in my life who has been most excited for Dune.
Dune!
Let's start it. Yeah, that. Yeah. To our loyal viewers, if you couldn't figure it out, he really likes Dune.
Dune!
FYI. Jonathan, what thoughts do you have about this new Dune trailer?
it's fine. No, well, first of all, this trailer, okay, a few things. Let's just talk just basically trailers for a moment. And trailers on YouTube that, like, there's some that really anger me, especially when they've got a little mini teaser trailer right before they play the trailer.
Holy crap. Yes.
Annoys me so much. Just let me watch your 2-minute trailer for a movie instead of giving me a 10-second, 5-second mini teaser that shows me the best cool thing before I watch the trailer. Stop that.
Yeah. And if you're doing it because of social media. Okay.
Also, just make that its own thing and upload that to social media.
Yes. And then be like, click here for this, or push the dog's nose, or whatever they do on stupid Facebook. Oh my goodness, I'm angry.
And if you have a legitimate reason for why that helps get more viewers, I don't care. Don't do it. It annoys me. Anyway, So I
We're
would like to
starting out
start.
real well tonight.
I'd like to start by saying that annoys me a lot, and the Dune trailer doesn't do that. Doesn't even get close. The Dune trailer says, "Here's 3 minutes and 5." Yes, we are going to give the Dune trailer the clapping award for not being dumb. Well done, guys. It's 3 minutes and 5 seconds of just pure trailer, baby. None of this other nonsense with it. And that's the first thing I want to talk about is the length. The length is a whole, like at least 30 seconds to a minute longer than most trailers that come out for movies, which makes me wonder. And I mean, I already kind of wondered if it was going to be this way because I know this is going to be one of 2 movies they want to do to adapt this book, which means they got a lot of stuff they're trying to do, et cetera, et cetera. But this movie is easily, I'm betting, easily 2.5 to 3 hours. Easy, okay? And so I'm wondering if the 3-minute trailer is in part because of that length, which is, okay, so that's one set of thoughts I have. But just impressions.
And I just want to point out the math on this, okay? Like, if it's 30 seconds to a minute longer, right, and it's 3 minutes long, then normal trailers are somewhere around 2, right? 2
yeah,
and
a minute and a half, 2, yeah.
Right. So this is like 30% to like 50% longer than other trailers. So that's why this is, that's why 30 seconds to a minute actually matters, because this is like a lot longer from a percentage standpoint.
This is the science fiction epic of trailers. This is what this is. This is, and that's the thing is the trailer length and it doesn't feel to me like 3 minutes. I mean, granted, like, are we really paying attention to how much 3 minutes or 2 minutes feels like with a trailer? I don't know, but it definitely didn't feel like it was over long as far as the trailer goes. I ate up every bit of it. I thought it looked beautiful. I thought the music was a very interesting choice. It was not what I was expecting for this movie or this kind of story. I know things about this story and where it goes, so I was very aware of like, oh, okay, that's probably that moment. That's probably that moment. And I thought these are really good interpretations, I think, at least visually, of these characters, of these moments, of these worlds. Yeah, I had a good time. I had a smile on my face the whole time watching it. So I liked it. I mean, that was almost guaranteed, but at the same time, it wasn't, right? They could have shown me stuff and I could have been like, oh no, we're in serious trouble. But I'm far away on the other side saying, I think this is going to be really good. At least it's continuing to look like it could be really good. We still have to watch the movie and find out what really happened. But right now, it looks like it could be really good.
Cool. Luke, how did you respond to the trailer?
Well, the first time I watched it was over Jonathan's shoulder. And so the audio at the beginning was really rough. Like, I couldn't even understand what the people were saying. That might have been just my position because I just watched it again and like, okay, I can understand what's happening. But even there, some of the audio just is a little bit, like especially the run, or whatever they say toward the end there. I'm like, that sounds like it's in a totally different space. Like it feels like a wild line, honestly. So there's some audio stuff that makes me feel a little like odd about it. But the visuals are fine. Like it's going along, it's doing its thing. We had talked, Jonathan and I, earlier this week when we watched it about like the sandworm. And I think I would have preferred had you just done like the sand sinking, and you could have potentially even done like cut after you see the mouth like rise above the lens and just have like the sand storm chasing towards them. And then you can also have like the body going right in front of the camera like they do. But like, don't show me the mouth. Like it's not epic enough on a 1080p monitor. So keep that for later for me personally. And like sandworm is like the only thing that I know about Dune. Like I know literally nothing. I mean, spice, blue eyes, whatever. I'm happy to see Zendaya, or however you say her name, Zendaya. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her name. I'm happy to see her. It is interesting to watch it and then see actors. Like, it's weird because way back in film school, I was so bad, I had no idea who actors were. Like, I didn't know anybody. But now that I've been watching a lot of movies, I'm like, okay, so there's Oscar Isaac, and like, okay, I know Rebecca Ferguson. That's great. And, but then I'm like, oh, there's Drax. And it was interesting because the makeup, the costume, the whatever makes me feel like, well, it's just Drax again. He doesn't feel unique or different as a character. And it's funny because we just recently watched like Enter the Warrior Gate or whatever, where he's in it, but he's got different makeup. And so I didn't say, oh, it's Drax. So like doing it, and Jonathan was like, well, there's a reason for it that he looks that way. But like he looks like Drax. He's Drax. So like now I'm just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa is in there. I'd actually forgotten that he was in it. And then it was weird. Is it Judi Dench? Is it Judi Dench? No. Okay. It sounded like Judi Dench when I was listening to Scott watch the trailer, but then like it didn't sound like her from my speaker. So I don't know. I was like, is that her? Okay, so it's not. Okay, that's cool. I was like, I don't know who this is behind the mask there or the veil.
I don't think it's
that's
Judi Dench. I don't think so.
Okay, well, so yeah, basically I was like, there's some audio stuff that's a little bit weird. I was like, oh yeah, people are in this movie, which was kind of fun. Don't show me so much of the sandworm, more sand, less worm. And I will say, I think probably one of the coolest things is the font at the end, where like you make the whole title just the same U shape, just rotated differently with like a planet, because like Dune, right? Like they're in the E, making the E. That was really legit. I like that.
Cool. Yeah. I have literally no background with Dune other than some pop culture references to whatever's been done in the past at this point. I don't know the story at all. So for me, this was the first trailer that I had seen for Dune where I actually go, okay, I'm starting to get a feel for what the story might be. Which was nice. I first saw something in the theater where literally it was just the flashing of the faces, and you kind of got all the big names, all the reasons why you'd want to come see this movie for just the references to the other actors. Um, to be honest, it was still pretty cool to see, but at the same time, it kind of made me wonder, like, am I really seeing this just for all the big names, right? This falls victim to something I think that happened in the prequels for Star Wars, right? You start putting all these big names in your movie, and are we really seeing it for them, or are we seeing it for what it is itself? So I struggled a little bit coming out of that experience. I did see an ad on TV for Dune as well, which was somewhat similar and was their literally 30-second, hey, there's a trailer online, go see it, which was fine. But then, I just watched the trailer right before we started this, and seeing some of the story, I was kind of finally like, okay, now I feel like I might be able to get into this a little bit more. So I do appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that even though I still feel like I know part of the movie, I have no clue what's going to happen. Like, yep, there's this character, and he might be the king or something like it, and there's some bad guys, and that's pretty much what I know at this point. So, yeah, I think
as you were talking, it reminded me of like one of the Team America World Police trailers that I saw, where it was like George Clooney and like just started listing off all these names, and I was like, what? How did they get everybody? Like, we'll really hate this movie, and I was like, if I can find it, I'll link it below.
Yeah. There's definitely some cleverness that they do with trailers. I think maybe they're doing a little too much with Dune. I'm also a fan of, if it's going to be a great story, you don't really need the best actors in the world. You need, or the biggest names in the world. You just need good actors. So I think I'm still in a place now where I'm a little concerned that they went for the names rather than for people that can just play the part. So I mean, I'm curious. I'm definitely not as excited as Jonathan at this point, but I'm curious.
Guys, let's go through this again. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the whole idea of the sandworm. Like, do you or do you not show it? Because that's actually an interesting question. And Luke and I had been talking about when we first saw it, and I brought up, I said, I kind of wish they hadn't shown me the entire sandworm. And that's sort of going to my, kind of like Jaws, right? Don't show the shark until you need to show the shark and let that be a big reveal. Do you want that to be your big reveal in the movie theater? And, one of the tensions in marketing versus a movie and reveals is, what stuff do you show? What stuff do you not show? What stuff is going to be cool to show so that people want to go see your movie? And then if you show too much or too early, then there's not as much fun in the reveals of these things. In Dune, the sandworm is very, like you said, Luke, like a lot of people know, all they know about Dune is there's like sandworms apparently. And I think they did very well in showing you scale and giving you a sense that this is an important part of the story for whatever set of reasons. And I personally, as a fan, really wanted to see what they were doing design-wise with the sandworm. But yes, should it have been a part of the trailer at the end? Because I thought to myself, you're going to do the sandworm at the end, aren't you? Just to reveal what the sandworm looks like. And I know the story well enough, and there's a shot in here where they actually already showed you the sandworm before they got to the end and showed you the sandworm. And that's a thing where the mouth kind of just shows up and is swallowing something, and you may have not caught it if you don't know Dune and you just watched the trailer for the first time. You may not see it, but there's totally a section where like a sandworm's mouth is being shown as it swallows something, and I kind of wish that was all we got, where you took the full reveal of the body and it looking and all that, which is really cool. I wonder if it would have been better to be like, no, let's just focus a little bit more on this moment where this mouth comes out of the sand, just enough for you to see that it's like a mouth gaping hole and teeth and something getting swallowed into it and being like, what was that? What does that mean? And let the curiosity still be piqued and let that play out. At the same time, though, I don't know if they need to hide it. I think Dune's a good enough story. I think the ideas are good enough, and the sandworms and their place in this is good enough that you don't have to hide it. So it's kind of like, is it a Jaws thing or is it not? Is it really helpful to let it be a reveal, or is it more important to just be like, this is what it is? Come see this. And the story is good enough on its own with all of that, right? Like, I think it'll totally handle it and be just fine. But I don't know. Like, Scott, what do you think? Like, would you have preferred to have not seen the sandworm until you got in the theater or something?
I mean, my biggest reaction in watching the trailer was to the worm. I think, Jonathan, you even noted as you were watching me watch it, of like, my eyes got really big, and I was kind of like, whoa, that's cool. At the same time, like, I think that kind of a reveal in the theater would have been way more powerful. I mean, now I'm expecting it, right? So you get that moment when you show the sandworm, and it's going to be a little bit less impactful. I'm going to be waiting for that moment in the movie, and if it is a big reveal moment in the story, well, part of that impact has already happened.
Well,
So
plot twist, they're cutting that out from the theatrical release.
No sandworms in Dune this year. Sorry, everybody.
It's 2020. What do you expect?
What do you expect? No sandworms. They got the COVID. They're done.
The sandworms got the COVID.
Sandworms got the COVID. It's over.
They've got a social distance now. They can't be any close to people.
We can't see them again.
It's not just a pandemic. It's an intergalactic issue.
Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to mention. And then the idea of the star-studded cast, I personally believe, from what I've seen of the cast and who they did choose, there's a lot of great people in here who are stars, but star power isn't what it used to be. And this isn't a veritable who's who of like the biggest stars of all time or anything. For instance, not that he's the only star, but like Tom Cruise is sort of quintessential old school star power. Will Smith has definitely played the star power role, right? Like, there are actors still out there that are Jennifer Lawrence, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel Jackson. Like, there are totally actors you could go and be like, these are names. And notice that even though at the end it gives you a big text like, here are all the names of all the cast, right? And if you know and care, you're like, that's awesome because these are great people. But really what it is I bet it plays more like familiar faces for a lot of people. I don't think people are looking and saying, oh, that star, I love Tom Cruise movies, or I love Will Smith, or they're not saying, I love Dave Bautista movies, and I love Rebecca Ferguson movies, and I love Timothy Chalamet movies. I think they're going, I've seen that person before. That was good. I've seen that person before. I've seen that person before. And really, this is a veritable who's who of people who I think were totally casted correctly. Like, it's not only that they're stars and they're just good. They're only around because they're stars and they can't act. And then there's people who can act. It's, a lot of times these two things coincide where you're a star because you can act. And this is a list in my mind of a lot of people who I think all do really good job at acting. And I also happen to know the characters a little bit. And I think that they got casted very well. And they didn't take the time to say, they didn't go in the trailer and be like, Rebecca Ferguson, and like have a title show up with her face turning to me like I'm Rebecca Ferguson. And like they didn't do that for 20 people, right? Instead, it was just, here are the characters, here's the story, here's the thing. And if you care, here's all their names.
Okay, so what has the main actor, Timothy, what's he been
Timothy
in?
Chalamet.
Chalamet. Shyamalan.
Timothy Chalamet. M. Night Timothy Chalamet. He was known for a movie called Call Me by My Name or something like that, where he was a kid going through a sexual awakening and gay stuff, homosexual stuff. That was where he got his break, is because he was a kid and it was like a film festival favorite. After that, he has been in The King on Netflix, where he plays like the son of King Henry, like King Henry the whatever. And he does a great job in that. And then he's also was it Little Women, or was something else? Was it Emma?
Oh yeah, one of the Jane Austen ones.
There's a couple of Jane Austen ones coming at the same time.
Okay.
And
well, that's why I don't know who he is, because I haven't seen him before.
So yes, he's not done a Star Wars. He's not done a mainstream action movie.
But then the real question is, has Oscar Isaacs even done a Star Wars? Really?
I mean, he was in 3 of them where they tried.
Or maybe they didn't try. It's hard to tell.
We can get off on that topic real easy. Don't get me on that.
Sorry. Dune. Sand.
Dune.
Spice.
Hey, I know. The spices. You guys don't understand, Jed. You'll get it. You'll understand. But yeah, I think he's an interesting choice. And the way that I see him portraying it, I think makes sense. But again, I know that I'm the only one who has any sense of what this story actually is, or who these characters actually are. And I'm already excited about all of this. And really, let's be honest here. For me, who's the biggest star in all the names?
It's
Denis Villeneuve.
Right. And
Okay.
and it was funny because it was like, Dennis. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Because you always call him Denny. And so I'm like, oh yeah, Dennis.
I mean, if his name was pronounced Dennis, I don't believe it is. I believe it's pronounced Denny. But if his name was pronounced Dennis, it'd be hilarious, because one of my favorite film directors right now, who I think is a master of the craft, would be called Dennis. And that's not what I would expect from a master of the cinematic craft.
Wow, the S is silent?
I think so. I think it's pronounced that way, yeah.
See,
I could be wrong, but I believe so.
Hey, 6 people in the audience, you guys can clearly tell that I do not know how to pronounce anyone's name.
It's possible. Jonathan, I do want your opinion on something, because at this point, hearing you talk about the trailer and hearing Luke and I talk about the trailer, I'm wondering, like, is this trailer more targeted to the cult following that Dune has, or is this trailer really targeting a wider audience?
I'm sure they're trying to do both, but because the information is relatively low, right? Like, one of the things about any science fiction epic or special world kind of stuff, and it's something like Dune, which is pretty dense in its world building, so much so that people know that Dune is a hard thing to adapt more than they know what Dune is. people know that Dune has failed in cinematic adaptations before more than they know what Dune the story is about.
I mean, if people are me, that's true.
Luke's not a person. Let's just get that out there. No, like exactly. That's exactly my point. You know, maybe you've seen the old '80s Dune, like that was an awful movie, and you just know like that movie apparently flopped back in the day, or you watched Jodorowsky's Dune as a documentary because you like documentaries, and that was
Which,
that was awesome.
If you have not watched that, oh my goodness, go watch that. It's amazing.
It's a great documentary. Anyway, people know more about the failures, okay? And so so Dune's a dense story. It's got a lot of stuff going on, okay? And the trailer is sort of hinting at all of those things. It's giving you a little tease at every one of those things, which, yes, if you do know that story and you're a fan already, it just gets you excited and gets you hyped because you're like, oh yeah, oh, and do that. And if you don't know anything, I was very curious because I was wondering the same. I had the same question, Scott, which is why I want to know what you two are thinking. Which is, does it intrigue you enough to want to watch it? Does it make you think? Like, do you have any sense of what the story is going to be? Do you really believe this is going to be good or bad, or like what are you guys thinking? Because as a fan, I think that trailer is absolutely everything you could want it to be because it's just every glimpse of something you already know what that is. That means something to you. Whereas to you guys, presumably, every glimpse means what? The voiceover narration, the story that they do tell you means what, if anything?
Well, the voiceover tells me it's going to be a bad movie, but that's my opinion.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I kid. I mean, there's so much going on, and it's like there's a lot of cool things that they showed us in there. But like I said, I have no clue, no frame of reference. So it's kind of like, for me, I was hoping to actually have better reactions, and I felt like the reactions I did have were kind of like, okay, sure, yeah. Maybe I'll figure out what's going on eventually. I would tell you that more of my interest in this movie is related to the other pop culture references that I know from TV shows or whatnot that I like, as well as Jonathan, your enjoyment of this. Like, I know that you are a fan of this, and I see your excitement for it after watching the trailer, and that's what makes me more excited than actually watching the trailer.
So this is hard to do, but just if you could imagine for a minute that you didn't know me or you didn't have a friend who was excited for it, and maybe pop culture references, but really, if you just saw this in a theater, if you just saw this online, you happen to watch it, do you think this would have done anything for you?
That is a good question. I mean, mildly intrigued. Probably will go see it because I've got A-list, not because of anything else.
All right. Luke, you tell me, what do you think as somebody who's, again, sort of away from it?
Yeah.
And someone who doesn't go see a lot of movies in the theater, I might add, mostly because of life. But, I mean, Luke, is this something that you would go see in the theater after watching it?
Well, okay. There's almost no movie that I would go see in the theater after watching a trailer unless a friend was like, come with me and let's watch this movie. Right? So I think the last time that a trailer made me go, okay, I'm going to watch that in the theater was when I watched the Sucker Punch trailer. I was like, okay, this movie is going to be so bonkers. I've got to go see. Like, the acting is so bad, but the images are so over the top. I got to see it. Got to see it in the theater. But like, that was the last time that happened, which was a long time ago. So this is not one of those movies that I'm like, okay, this is so special and weird or interesting or whatever that I got to go see it in the theater. This is easily I'll wait until the Blue VD comes out and I'll watch it then, or I'll stream it on Netflix when it finally comes there or whatever, right? Like, I'm in no rush to see this.
Well, with that spectrum though, is it from like, was there a change at all potentially from like no Blue VD to, yeah, I'll check that out on Blue VD?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd be totally down for watching on Blue Vida. Is this better than like everything that we watched in 2017? Yeah, probably. Right? Like, I went to a lot of movies with Jonathan in 2017. Right? It was 2017. Whatever. Bad year.
It was whatever year it was really disappointing.
It was really disappointing. We went to it was when I had time. It was great. And so yeah, this is fun. This looks like it could be fun. It looks like it could be good. It looks focused, which is nice. But then what I've heard about Dune is that it's a lot of like political intrigue and like different stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if like one of my thoughts, I mentioned this, was, I wonder if they're going to make like multiple perspectives. And this is just one of them that they're telling me about. Like that was one of my questions because of my like super vague sense of what Dune's about. Like, oh, I wonder if we're going to follow other people. And this is like this group's trailer. And like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like, oh, this other group's trailer and oh, this other group, like I was almost hoping for that, which I don't think is going to happen now. I think it's going to be focused, which is actually good. But I kind of almost want like, here's this team's trailer and what they're all about, right? Like, I think that would be really cool and kind of fun knowing nothing about the world, right? Sorry. Yeah, go for it.
I think you might get a Harkonnen trailer. Harkonnens are the bad guys. So
okay.
I think you may get a trailer that's a little bit because this one hints at them.
Right.
And like they're around, but you don't like they're just it's Dave Bautista, who apparently you think looks like Drax. And
yes,
you get like little bits of images of Alexander Skarsgård playing the Baron. They haven't even revealed how kind of gruesome that guy is. So I would not be surprised at all if some other further trailer sort of takes the angle story-wise of here are bad guys doing bad guy things, and the guy who've introduced you, this Paul guy, these other people are going to be in conflict with them, right? Like, I would not be surprised at all.
I think that'd be legit. I think another thing that, because we're talking about it, right? So like now I'm analyzing in my head, right? Like I don't think I would be sitting down thinking about this if I wasn't sitting down thinking about it with you guys. I get a sense for why Dune is hard to adapt, because this is a dense book. It's a dense world, whatever. Like I haven't read them, but like there's a whole like shelf on our bookshelves like of Dune books. So like there's a lot there. And I am wondering if, like a lot of adaptations, shorter content is better or easier to adapt. And I'm not sure what they're going to do or cut. So like, for example, like you were like, oh man, fear is the mind killer. Like that's a line from the book. I'm like, am I by the end of this 3-hour movie going to get the sense of what that means at the depth that the book means it? And I'm a little bit worried that I'm not. And it's going to be one of those like realities where if you have the book knowledge, this has a ton of meaning and depth. And if you don't, it's an okay film. And I'm a little bit afraid that I'm going to walk away thinking less of Dune because the movie just can't, because it literally can't go that deep with stuff. But I don't know.
All right, Jonathan, let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
Should I attempt to read the book before I see the movie, or should I just enjoy the movie?
Okay. I have to fess up here. I have only read part of the book. I have a lot more understanding what the story is from other mediums. Like there was a Sci-Fi Channel miniseries back in the day that was like 6 hours long. That was a pretty faithful adaptation of the book, from what I understand, that I've already seen. I am friends with and or know my brother, people who read the book, and I've talked to them. I have not read this book in its fullness. I do not understand it in its fullness. I understand it better than you do, and you do, Luke, because I've seen this story. I remember this story, and I've paid enough attention to it, had enough care for it, that I know some of the depth there, but I've never read this book. So I can't necessarily give you a great answer. My personal answer is, because I've been getting the urge to want to read the book, right? The more I get close, I've been getting the urge to want to do that. And I think that would be a worthwhile endeavor because, the classic answer is always that the book is better than the movie, right? And
Sure.
I suspect that will still be the case here. That the book will almost undoubtedly be better than this movie adaptation, which is going to be 2 movies, by the way, if we hadn't made that clear. It's like a 3-hour movie, and then they want to make another 3-hour movie or whatever, and that's going to be that first Dune book. That's that story. I also have a somewhat controversial opinion about that kind of thing, which is I'm also of the mind that when I have read a book before I see the movie, I end up comparing it a lot. My mind just goes into comparison mode. How are they going to do this? They're going to do it as well as they did in the book. Instead of being able to say, this is the movie thing and this is the book thing, and they are different, and I'm going to try to enjoy them each as what they are.
Absolutely. And I agree. That is vital because they are different media.
So if you're like me, maybe it's a good idea not to read the book yet, because then you won't be like constantly comparing in your mind when you watch it. I'm a film guy primarily. I'm a cinematic guy primarily. This is one of my favorite directors right now, who I think is doing a science fiction epic with a story that I know enough about that I know I like it, and I really want to see what they do with it. That I'm prepared to not read the book and just go see the movie and then probably go see the other one. I don't know if I'll read in between or not, but I want to just go and just enjoy whatever this is. This to me is a cinematic event potentially. This could be really good. It might also be a failure. It might also be middling, but this could be really good. It's got enough pieces at play that could be really, really good. So I want to go and experience that. I don't want anything else getting in the way of that.
This is making me think of Ready Player One. And when I watched the trailer, having read the book, I was like, what? What's this car chase thing? What? I was totally out of the trailer because I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then I watched the movie and I was like, eh. But like, had I not read the book, watched the movie, then I'm like, okay, whatever. But then if I got inspired enough to read the book, then I would have been like, oh, well, that's that. This is what's going on. And so I wonder if that's actually a better way. Like the movie is the gateway drug to the book or whatever, right? Like it's a way to get you into it and get you a sense without necessarily getting you the whole way there, because it's a different media, but it's also really enjoyable and fun because of what it is. So yeah, that got me thinking about that.
Okay.
So to shorten my answer, Scott, I would personally say, no, you don't need to. That doesn't mean you shouldn't ever read it. I'm just saying that before maybe you want to just go see this movie first. Maybe that's what you want to do. But that's probably a controversial opinion.
Okay, I'm kind of bummed that we didn't talk more about trailers and stuff. So I'm also going to mention this. If you have not seen the trailer for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it's awesome. It's a trailer about trailers, and it's meta awesome. So good.
And meta is what that movie story is.
I know. It's kind of fun.
On that note, it is time for us to make some recommendations. Gentlemen, what you got?
Well, I'm going to steal it then. Because Jonathan didn't jump. Jodorowsky's Dune. If you have not watched that documentary, watch it. It's a blast. Have we ever recommended this like 8 times? I don't even know. Watch it.
It's good. It's good. I was just going to recommend a trailer or 2, actually, instead of a movie. Deal with that. We're going to do, I think, this is going to sound weird, especially with all of our hatred towards Star Wars right now, but the teaser trailer for The Force Awakens is really, really, really good. It is just a hype fest. It is iconic imagery and sounds, and it just makes you want to go see a Star Wars movie. And it's really good. And it shows to me that I had such hope for what Star Wars could have been and what I wanted them to do, et cetera, et cetera. And so maybe go revisit that after all this chaos and craziness. Just go watch it again. See how you feel about that teaser trailer now. See if it does anything for you, because I think it's a really well put together thing.
Wait, are you talking about the teaser trailer or the trailer?
The teaser. I'm talking about the very first footage we got of The Force Awakens.
So, that teaser trailer that didn't tell us anything about the story and...
Yeah, the one that makes you just feel like this is going to be awesome Star Wars. Yeah, watch that one. And then the other trailer I'll give you, man, is there... I don't know, these trailers have names, by the way. At the very least, trailer 1, trailer 2, teaser trailer. Unfortunately, I don't have it off the top of my head. but one of the Mad Max Fury Road trailers is great because it uses, for instance, opera to give you the sense of the sort of craziness, wild world that it is, and the sort of juxtaposition between the two things. And instead of other movies that use a cool pop song or a cool idea and that never shows up, that style, for instance, never even shows up in their movie, Mad Max actually has it. It actually has a moment that does that. It's not all that way, but it actually has a scene that does that, and it captures the vibe very well. It was a trailer that I knew Mad Max stuff before that, but it was a trailer that actually told me enough about that story without telling me much of anything about it all at the same time, told me what that vibe of that world was going to be, that got me interested. And when I went and saw it, I wasn't disappointed because it was actually pretty close. It didn't throw me off to a different direction. All the while, it didn't tell me everything. So there's that.
Yeah. I've been trying to think of a movie this entire time to recommend that um, is maybe something that I had more knowledge of, kind of like you do with Dune, Jonathan. Um, and the closest thing that I have to recommend is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that Disney remade recently. I can't remember actually watching the trailer necessarily for that, but it was still one of those moments when I got excited about a movie because I knew what was coming, right? I saw the little moments and I was like, oh, that looks awesome. Ooh, that could be really fun. And ultimately, I thought it was a great movie. I really did enjoy it. I think there are a lot of themes that were missed, and I think that's pretty common for making movies from books and showing you just enough to make you excited, and then it feels almost like it's stealing it away at moments because they don't hit the themes as well or as hard as they should. So I am still very hopeful that Dune will not be that we will get something that um, does feel like an accurate representation of the themes in the book. Um, but we'll find out and we'll see. And you can keep looking forward to that as well as other things. But in the meantime, we'll be back next week, and we hope you've enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, I hope you have.